What's going on, everyone? In this video we're going to talk about the top 10 biggest travel mistakes and how to avoid them. I'm going to give you life examples and tips throughout, as well as share with you some very exciting news towards the end of this video, so make sure you stick around. Let's get into it. And welcome back to another video. In my last vid we were talking about different mistakes that I've made from finding work and accommodation in certain places. After posting that vid, it made me reflect and it made me realise that I've made a lot more of the mistakes over the last 10 years or so of doing this long-term travelling. Doing that, I was like, let's put together a video that can hopefully help other people understand what sort of mistakes there are out there, so they don't make them when it comes to them traveling. The last thing you want to be doing on your travels is making mistakes. And these mistakes can cost you time and money. Time and money are two of the biggest key factors that allow you to travel. Making these mistakes can have a massive impact on your adventures and sometimes even ruin your trip. Whether you travel once a week, once a month, once a year, the time you take to immerse yourself on your adventures should be enjoyed to the fullest. To help you with your upcoming trips, I've put together 10 of my all-time biggest mistakes that I've made over the last decade. And this can apply to a variety of subcategories of travel as well. For example, backpacking, solo and group travel. We're also talking seasonal work, summers and winters. That could also be holidays and vacations, and even expeditions like hiking events and much more. Okay, first on the list, it is overpacking. Now I know how tempting it can be to pack your whole wardrobe into your suitcase or your luggage. Don't worry, I've been there too. But just take into consideration the type of terrain that you're going to be going across, because you're going to be needing to carry your bags across this through the duration of your travels. For example, whether you're going across beaches, you're going across cities and airports, or you're going through mountains and slopes, etc., adjust that accordingly to how much you want to pack. Little pro tip with this is that I always pack less. I normally do 7 days worth of clothes and then I can just rewash it every week. I also like leaving a bit of space in my bags for stuff like items that I want to pick up along my trip. Airline companies are known for having big luggage fees with what you are allowed to carry on the plane, so don't go overweight basically, and check the amount that you're allowed for that trip. Save money and time at the airport with getting your bag accepted onto the conveyor belt and on with your trip. Up next, not informing your credit or debit card company of your travel plans. I definitely own up to this one as well. Way back when in 2010, when I did a group holiday, lads holiday to Greece, I didn't tell the issuers about my plans. So they decided to, I remember, lock my card. And that gave me a lot of problems with accessing money when I was in a foreign country. I had to borrow money from my friends and then pay and transfer them back that money when I managed to get my card unlocked. This creates so much hassle and so much pain down the line on your travels when you're supposed to be enjoying yourself and immersing yourself in that whole environment and with the people and in the enjoyment of that. So make sure you get this done before you leave your home country. Also, to add to that, in order to unlock my card so I could use it on my holiday, it meant I had to ring them up and notify them of this change, which also cost me more money in international calls and roaming charges because I didn't have that with my plan either. Another quick pro tip, when talking with your bank, you can ask them if there is any foreign card fees with using your card overseas, and then also with withdrawing money from foreign ATMs. Is there extra costs? What sort of costs are there? and yeah, see what you're going to be billed if you do go that route, and how to save money in that way. And so that moves me on to the next one, which is not checking your cell phone plan. It is super handy to have a look at what is covered on your mobile phone, whether it's what minutes you get, what texts you get, data roaming charges, what is it like in that country. You can check with your phone provider, data plan provider in your hometown or online, where it's nice and quick and easy as well. So whatever at your best convenience, double check what is available. In today's world, there's a lot more available with what we have in terms of SIM cards and in terms of unlocked phones and abilities to work with that for what you deem possible or what you need for your trip. So yeah, 100% have a look into that before you leave. Just a key example here of what could go wrong. I remember my brother telling me that he went over his data plan and his minutes and his texts and all that together, and when he came back to the UK, his plan was like 2 or 3 times more than his actual contract. So it was like 149 or something, instead of it being like 40 or some 49 or something or whatever. That's not good. Ouch. Don't want to be paying that. Double check before you go. Quick pro tip with this: you can use a lot of Wi-Fi in public areas, for example in cafes, in restaurants, lounges. Utilize all of that. One thing I will say with that though is to not obviously use your passwords and this sort of delicate information on public Wi-Fi, because you never know if it's a safe connection or not. Also, download all of your maps, itineraries, and locations that you need to travel through, so you can use them offline if you don't have data or if you don't have Wi-Fi at the time. Okay, moving on to the next one, which is not checking your visa requirements. This has hit me so much in the feels because this happened to me literally last year. I basically did not check the small wording on my visa confirmation. I went back to the UK and I realised that I wasn't allowed to travel on that visa. I had to get a different visa in order to travel. So that locked me out of the country until my new visa would come through, and that was about 6 months. And lesson from me is that make sure you check the visa requirements. The last thing you want happening is to be turned away at the foreign checkpoint. This can have a massive impact on your trip and can even like completely stop or even ruin your trip, and you'll have to go home. To avoid this from happening, make sure you check websites online of the place that you're going to in terms of what is needed for the visa. For example, with Australia, we have the Home Affairs website that has got so many different visas on there of what you can apply for. So yeah, do the research online, see what comes up, and go from there. I'll be sure to put a link in the description box below of all the information that I talk about in this video, so you can have a look through there and see what is tailored to you and what can work for you as well. Another tip with this is that the more research that you do and on the visas and the conditions of what is needed of you in order to travel that country, the better you're going to feel in traveling to that country, because you know is what is expected of you. You know that there's not going to be any nasty surprises, and you'll feel a lot more confident, a lot more excited, and a lot more adventurous in terms of enjoying your travels and exploring that new country. Okay, up next, which is not buying travel insurance. Now, this is a very important one because you want to be covered for all of the important stuff that you want to look after. For example, all of your luggage, all of your items, for if your flights get cancelled or if your trip gets cancelled, if you have an accident or an injury or something happens to you whilst you're on an event or a trip or an activity, you want to be covered. For the sake of 30 minutes of your time, 30 minutes to an hour, get onto one of the websites, see what sort of cover you're going to need in terms of what you want to get covered on and what you want to tailor it to your trip and the specifics for that. Once again, I'll put some recommendations of the travel insurance providers that I've put in the description box, so check that out and have a look if that applies to you. Some plans will also cover you for your emergency and medical expenses for your trip. So, for example, if you don't have health insurance at that time, or you want to look after yourself just in case something does bad happen, then yeah, have a look at this sort of specifications on the cover of your for your trip as well. Up next, we have got not keeping track of your reservation details. Now, this is a super simple one, but honestly, it is such an unnecessary task to be rummaging through your bag to try and find the reservation details to give to the accommodation provider or to the events you're going on. I'm all about saving time and making the most of time. So if you can put your reservation details in a place in your bag where you know you can easily access it, where you can find it, you can whip it out straight away, you can give it to the provider, then not only does that speed up the process, it leaves you feeling a lot less stressed because you know where the documents are and you know how to find them. To add even more flexibility to this, in the past what I've done is I have downloaded the reservation details and a digital copy to my phone, so it basically allows me to have a backup just in case if I lose the paper document, or if I lose it on one gadget, for example my laptop or my iPad, then I can always go back to my iPhone and check there and show it to the accommodation provider. Up next, we've got not grabbing currency, foreign currency, for the destination that you're going to be traveling to. In the past, I've always left this proper last minute. I've always gone to it in the airports, and the rates there have always been through the damn roof. So again, to save time and to save the expense of money as well, with saving money, make sure you have a look around in places to find the best rate. Places where I've looked at my local bank, I've looked in local supermarkets, I've looked in local post offices, I've compared the rates, I've compared to see what is best and what I can go for, and then I've got the local currency, the foreign currency from there, and kept it on me, so I've got it ready for my trip and ready to go away. With that said, most places that I've been to, most vendors that I've paid for their services and for their products, I have paid with cards. However, it doesn't hurt to have a backup of cash just to pay for other things if need be. For example, if you want to pay for food, if you want to pay for taxis, if you want to tip people as well for their great service, then this is also a great way to do that. Another quick pro tip here to assist you in finding the best exchange rate for your money, I would suggest downloading an app called XE on the App Store. This is like the best currency exchange converter I've found online. You can basically look at all these different currencies that are used across the world. You can compare different currencies against each other. You can see what is the best rate for what you want to get for your money. Okay, up next, not setting enough time to commute to your flights. So have you ever seen that one person absolutely sprint across the airport terminal to get to the departure gate before the door closes? Yeah, that has been me. I have definitely done that. In Melbourne specifically, obviously I made it, here to tell the tale, amazing. But in other words, to avoid that happening, just make sure that you set way enough time to get to your chosen airport. Also, with this said, take into consideration the time it's going to take to get from your house or your accommodation to the airport. So for example, the traffic you're going to be going through, the routes that you're going to be taking, who you're going to be going with, how long they're going to take as well if you're picking them up on the way through. All this information, factor it in to your daily travels, as well as check-in times and when you can drop your bags off, because as soon as that opens up and the bag drop is all good, then you can drop your stuff off and then you can focus more time in getting to your departure gate, having some food, relaxing, chilling, having a drink if you want to. Amazing. Pro tip for an easier, smoother whole process of this, download the app of your flight provider, check in online or check in online on the browser instead of the app, and yeah, make sure you get your boarding pass all sorted. One last note on this, I would also take into consideration the size of the airport that you're going to be traveling from. For example, like airports like in Birmingham or Luton are a lot smaller than London Heathrow. There's more terminals, there's more areas to walk. Plan that for the route of how long it's going to take you to walk there as well. Packing in too many excursions and activities into one trip. Now this one kind of sounds a little bit counterintuitive, right? Surely you'd want to do as much as you can in your trip, no? For me, I've experienced both sides of the coin on this. I've done loads and loads of different experiences like in 1 week, in comparison to doing 1 or 2 experiences, but then also having time to like socialize and connect with other travelers and see what they're up to, and then to join them on their trips, and then have the flexibility of being able to do that. The more excursions that I've done in 1 week, it's actually taken me away from like fully immersing myself in those times and in those activities. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved every single second of it. It's amazing, but I felt like I was 100 miles an hour, you know? I want to enjoy the whole time aspect of it. I want to socialize and see what other travelers are up to, and if they want to like meet up for a drink or do something, or I'll go and join them on their trip, or they come join me on mine. I want to have the flexibility of doing that, you know? And yeah, I want to enjoy it to the fullest with not being absolutely shattered and knackered from the day before, because I've been doing so much on the trip. This will vary massively of what you desire to do on a trip, but as a rule of thumb, generally I'd say less is more, you know? I love the flexibility. I love being able to say yes to things, and I don't want to book myself in with too many things, too many activities, too many excursions. Also, for that reason, if you do feel like not turning up, or are you just too tired, or you've got too much on, when you do cancel these events, then normally there's cancellation fees, and then you'll lose money that way. As a recommendation, I would say start with one trip, start with one activity, one excursion, see how you like it, see what you feel, see if you enjoyed it, see who you meet on that trip, on that activity, and then go from there. Then if you want to book another one, or you've got other people you want to chill with or meet with or join on that on your activity or your trip, then wicked. This happened massively with when I met all of my friends, my travel friends in Fraser Island, and then I ended up meeting them up in Airlie Beach, and we ended up doing a sailing trip together. And finally, on to the last one, which is not keeping your valuables safe. Now this is a huge one. This is one of the most important in my opinion. Whether it be theft, loss, or damage to any of your personal items like your phones and your laptops, you need to look after them. We put so much trust into our gadgets nowadays for so many important things, including on our travels. For example, like important documents that we need to access, reservations, taxis, flights, online banking. That's a big one. If you're transferring money from your current account to your savings account and vice versa, and who you need to pay and what money needs to be in what account in order to pay for the vendors. And then also, again, pictures and videos. Like one of my friends, Robbie, on his travels, he said to me that he lost he lost his phone with all of his memories of his videos and pictures on it, and he didn't have them backed up to the iCloud, didn't have it saved on another computer, and so he lost all of those memories. There are always ways of avoiding this. When I started researching the solution to this problem, I found this backpack from Nomadic, which I've had it for the last 2 years. It's black, of course, I love it. And this stores all of my gadgets, all of the things that I need, all in one place. I've also tried and tested this bag in so many different environments, super hot, super cold, in the middle, and yeah, it's definitely survived and played its part in being such a strong companion for my trip. If you're going to use something daily, always, then you're going to get that money back for how much you spend as a one-time payment, you know, and I've definitely made that back. Last and final quick pro tip with this is that I use Find My iPhone, the app on my phone, to locate all of my gadgets if I misplace them or lose them. For example, I've got my iPhone hooked up to it, I've got my laptop MacBook Pro hooked up to it, and also my earpods as well. So if at any point I do lose or misplace or can't find any of them, then I'll go onto the app and I'll have a look. You can also do this by going onto the iCloud, going through the whole process of Find My iPhone that way as well, and see where you can locate it. This has definitely massively helped me. So if you do have an iPhone or any of the Apple gadgets, then yeah, be sure to try this if you can. If you have other phones like Samsungs or Galaxy, Samsungs or Androids, etc., then see if there's an alternative app that can help you with this. And so everyone, that is the full 10. Before I sign off another video, I just want to tell you of some really exciting news. Recently, I have just set up a newsletter that I'm going to be sending out to email lists and create as a blog online. Over the last few months, I've really enjoyed being a subscriber to other newsletters, and so it's inspired me to create my own and talk about the interests of health, self-development and travel through this medium. Before I started building this video, it was already a newsletter beforehand, and I really enjoyed the process of it. So if you are interested in the above and want to join the email list, I'll be sure to put it in the link below in the description box. So thanks for your time. Thanks for watching to the end of the vid. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you all back in the next episode. See you later, everyone.